Hello? Okay. Hey, I don't know what's going on. Can y'all hear me? Making sure everything is good now. For some reason, the mic wasn't working. I have no idea why. But hey, hope everyone's having a good one. And thank you all for tuning in here on Fun Speculation on an impromptu stream. It is December the 23rd, and it is the day before Christmas Eve. So it's Christmas Eve. So happy holidays and everything to everybody out there who celebrates, and for whatever holiday you do celebrate, happy holidays to you as well. Appreciate every single person who has helped make this year an awesome year on Fun Speculation. It's been a great time all year round, and it's because of you guys in the chat. It's because y'all showing up, showing out, making this year great and having fun on all of our shows, having fun with all the conversations, despite all the doom and gloom going on this year and all the craziness going on this year regarding Xbox. It's ended up turning out to be, in my opinion, a fantastic year for games. And overall, even on Xbox, despite everything, was an awesome year for games. A year that actually had a lot of games that I enjoyed in lots of different genres. I think that kind of defined this year for Xbox and Game Pass is just the variety that we had. And I'm curious about how y'all feel about that and what your favorite games were and how y'all feel about 2024 in general. I think 2025 is going to get off to a hot start. I think 2025 is going to be rocking with Dev Direct in January. We're going to have lots of things to look forward to throughout the year because they have several games coming. I think more so than anything, I think a lot of the games are going to be in the first 9 months as well, kind of spaced out through that time because GTA 6 would be potentially coming in the holiday season. So, in that regard, I think they want to try and have everything before that. So, even though it's loaded for Xbox, I think it's going to be loaded all the way through through the fall, which is going to be absolutely awesome and full of game announcements news. We'll have the whole summer showcase again next year, Dev Direct, and Gamescom again next year. TGS. It'll just be another full year full of gaming news. But what will be different is potential announcements regarding Xbox hardware, regarding Xbox ecosystem stuff, regarding the Xbox Everywhere things, implementing more stuff with the Xbox app on PC, more games being playable that you own via the cloud as well. And all of that stuff is going to be happening next year. They've already started with all of that. So they're just going to keep rolling out more and more. And I think that's going to define a lot of what's going on next year as well. But more importantly, what's been going on the last week or so is kind of, I'm not going to say new reports, but kind of like re-reports on Xbox future hardware, where more and more journalists and games media and YouTubers and everybody that seems like they're in the know is doubling down on this future of the Xbox hardware that is very revolutionary and different than anything we've ever seen in the gaming space before when it comes to consoles and especially with Xbox. And for me, it's very exciting. And I don't know how everybody else is going to feel about it. I know that this year's been a year where a lot of people feel like Xbox has been putting the console side more on the back burner to where they're allowing their competition to get more of their games, and that's going to be happening in the future in the console space. But so they see it as like a negative as well. Now Xbox isn't competing as much, so that's going to mean the hardware is going to continue to die and that we're going to get less games on Xbox and all these other kind of things. Well, I'm going to try and break down the reasons why I think that's all the actual opposite of what's actually happening. I thought Jez Corden did a great job on his article that he had. Tom Warren had an article back in April that he had reshared again. And this all stems from the original reports that came from Hip Hop Gamer back in January. And he wants to make sure he gets credit for that because he was the first one. So, hey, props to him for coming out with that information first, but way back in January when all of this doom and gloom started about Xbox's potential multi-platform future and them putting games on PlayStation. So, but before we get into all of the stuff regarding the stuff I want to talk about with Xbox future consoles and everything, I want to say hello to the chat. Everybody that's here, Solid White 731. Thank you for being here. Joseph Lemons, shout out to you. Appreciate you being here as well. RSJ fan, hope you're doing good. RSJ, thank you. Polly Baba, what's up? Jay Lewis, what's up? There's my beautiful wife, Caitlin. Let me know that the mic is good now. I haven't used OBS just traditionally in a little while because I've been using a different studio application, and for some reason the source was wrong on OBS, so I had to fix that. So apologize for the beginning of the show not having any mic audio. Um, and shout out to, let's see, Sith Lord. How's it going, Sith? Again, congratulations on winning one of Mr. Boomstick's giveaways, which he does every year. That guy is literally a podcast Santa when it comes to Christmas season. So shout out to Mr. Boomstick and everything he does for the community. And then Full Treff. What's up, Full Treff? Says MAVCast, the best cast. Hey, appreciate you being here and appreciate everybody again, like I said. So, all right. I want to get into some of the conversation for Xbox and the future of the hardware and the future of the consoles. What's up, Andrew Colonnet, who says randomly, no friends. Yeah. No friends. That's fun. That's funny. I don't know. Are you saying I don't have any friends? I thought you guys were my friends. You don't have any friends? Who has no friends? Anyway. Jay Lewis, I don't remember if I mentioned your name as well. Says choo 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 choo. Yes, I can hear. Yeah, appreciate you, Jay, as well. Well, Xbox hardware. The naysayers say Xbox will be getting out of the hardware space because they will not have a reason to make consoles as their console sales continue to dwindle and decline this generation. And they think that putting games onto PlayStation will continue to make that happen, and the Xbox console and hardware will become irrelevant. Therefore, more third-party companies will abandon Xbox, and less people will be interested in buying them because they won't need one. Because why? When you can just buy a PlayStation and get the PlayStation games and the Xbox games and all that kind of stuff. That's the conversation that's been happening this year for people that are really concerned and worried about it, saying that your digital libraries aren't safe and all these other kind of things, right? While all this happened, originally I thought that eventually this could eventually happen with gaming in general. I think there's always going to be some form of exclusivity. I don't know if it's features wise or if it's just some games end up still not moving over occasionally for whatever reason, or timed exclusivity, value exclusive, whatever. There's always going to be exclusivity somewhat in the ecosystem. I think Sarah Bond broke it down in February when they had that Xbox roundtable thing to try and put minds at ease when they said, look, everybody, it's just 4 games. We're just testing things right now. They were easing us along. I remember I was co-streaming that and I was like, oh, see, it's just 4, like everybody's freaking out. Yeah, but it turns out it's going to be more and more. They're happy with it. That was to ease us all along. They're going to be continuing to do so, right? Because they see the value in it. And also, I think it's more so just about the future of where they see their direction of the company headed. All the games and all the publishing power they have, all the IP that they have, all the things that they have, they're going to maximize the value out of all of it. Not maximize the value of the box, not maximize the value of the console, maximize the value of the ecosystem, which is a very core differentiator there, because to many people, Xbox is still just a box. It's Xbox. Xbox is a console. Xbox is that. It's not more than that. I'm here to tell you it has been more than that ever since they started putting their games day and date on PC. Ever since last generation, when the whole crap gamer Phil Spencer fiasco happened, they've been more than just a box ever since that. And they've been increasing the value of the ecosystem ever since then, with putting games with dual entitlements more so. All the first party games get put eventually on PC and console. Right now, Aura is just on PC, but even the older Age games are moving on to console. Age Mythology Retold actually hit console and PC day and date. Dual entitlement is becoming a big thing. Xbox Anywhere is becoming a big thing, and that is something they're expanding on and putting a lot of focus on, which was again Sarah Bond's focus back at the roundtable, talking about future compatibility, talking about game preservation, talking about making sure you're going to be able to play your games in the future no matter what you play on and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's a core focus. That's one of the reasons why I also have no fear with Xbox's forward direction and what they're doing and how different it is, right? The value of a box is not necessarily equate the value of the ecosystem, which is definitely larger. If you judge console power as far as user base, PlayStation has a larger user base when it comes to consoles, right? But if you judge an ecosystem and monthly active users, Xbox destroys PlayStation. To destroy PlayStation and Nintendo with that regard, right? They have like 500 million monthly active users. They're on Xbox, they're on PC, they're on mobile. They have these games that are everywhere across multiple platforms, and they also have their exclusives right now. They also have a subscription service that gives you games day and date. They also have cloud gaming where you can play your games no matter where you are on pretty much any device that has a web browser. And that continues to improve as well, something I've been using a lot more. So ecosystem wise, Xbox is just much greater, the platform and the ecosystem. Console wise, the user base sees the value in the exclusives that PlayStation has, so console sales are strong there. Plus, also just as the determining de facto, hey, high end console box that people end up gravitating to has been PlayStation since early last generation, and that's just going to continue to be the case. So where Xbox sees growth is not going to be the console space; it's going to be everywhere. And they're casting a wide net. They're not just going after console users anymore, like they haven't been for a while. But now they're going beyond that, saying, well, we're getting the infrastructure ready. We have everything in place. We're going above and beyond that. We're going to cast the biggest net ever and try and catch everybody if they can. And that's really what they have in mind. They have grander plans than being locked into a box ecosystem. And that's the game they're going to be playing. So that leads us into what is the next device is going to be. Well, they again, like I said, in January, Hip Hop Gamer came out with the information about a possible hybrid box. It would be hybrid Xbox slash PC, where you can kind of play anything. He said he said literally, like, it launches and boots up in Xbox mode, but then you hit a button and then it just switches to like a PC, right? So where you can kind of access whatever you want, including maybe even like a Steam library, Epic Games library, or whatever. So that future is very interesting. Now, for me, I'm like super down for that, because if you tell me I can access all the games I have in the future on a console type device that's plugged into my TV, that's going to be powerful, I'm like super all down for that. It I would have a PC on every TV in the house right now if it was financially and technologically reasonable to do so, but it's just really not. And so developing a device that actually takes a lot of the headache out of owning a PC that's more tailored to gaming, and built to go onto a TV that automatically boots up into Xbox ecosystem, but then has the options to access everything else, sounds like a dream, right? It has work to be done to make it a fantastic experience, because they need to make sure that all your console games are there. They need to make sure that everything that we've bought are there and playable natively and in the cloud and whatever else also. So that has to be, they have to achieve what they set out to do, but I have faith that they are going to, because it's already happening, right? The moves that they've been making already within the Xbox app on PC and other things are in the direction of that. So I have no reason to believe they're not going to continue that work and hit the nail on the head when it comes to it. But it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out because we've never seen anything like that before. So I wanted to bring up this article because what Hip Hop Gamer back in January touched on. Back in April, Tom Warren had an article that he just recently reshared, right on the heels of Jez Corden's article, which I will also get to, where Tom Warren back in April had broke down a lot of the same thing, and I want to show his article because of some of the things that were said. Um, and I think he kind of hits the nail on the head with some things. So I'm going to bring that up. We got the Verge here. Verge article from Tom Warren, good old Tom. And my face is covered up. Sorry. Let me adjust. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we got Tom Warren's article here from The Verge. Let's see. I'm gonna read some of this chat real quick first. So Black Card A, what's up, man? How you doing? Why is so serious says, yo, what's up? God Emperor Sofa King says, yeah, but at that point you might as well allow us to customize and start taking parts out and replacing parts if that's the case. Well, I don't think these are going to be like $1,500, $2,000 devices. These are going to be more tailored to kind of higher end, like something a console user would be used to buying, but just have more functionality. So, and I think they would kind of have a set optimization goal for better. I don't know what terms to put, right? On specific devices. So that way, the devs kind of have a spec, and that spec, if it's an Xbox native Xbox device, made device, would probably be also the specifications that they're using at that time for the cloud and everything. So eventually, maybe all the devices will be running on that hardware in the cloud as well. So whatever they're doing with that, I think is going to be kind of like, hey, this is like a uncustomizable type PC thing, and then you're going to have it boot up right there. It's got the like specifications of what the developers are targeting and all that kind of stuff, and then it's maybe $700-800 or something like that, as opposed to $1,500-2,000 for like a brand new custom PC, right? That will be potentially equivalent to that at that same time, but this one would be toned down and pared down more so for gaming. Yeah. Anyway, that's in my mind, kind of what I'm thinking right now. But yeah, I hear you. Maybe there's because of what they're doing, it sounds like God Emperor Sofa King. What you could do is just put a PC on a TV, and that's essentially the same thing because what they're going to be doing will allow you to be able to do that. I'll explain why. But yeah, if that's what you want, just build a PC, high end PC, and replace parts and stuff like that if you want. You can do that now. You can do that today. This is more about tailoring to more of a console market that's used to things that way, right? So let's get into this article. Sub Cyber Gunter, BT Maverick, Talos Ray, Pixel Slappa, Dark Zone. How's it going? It says the future of Xbox looks a lot like a PC. Microsoft gaming chief has been dropping a lot of hints about the future of Xbox recently. This is by Tom Warren. Tom Warren's always very reputable when it comes to his reports and his things that he talks about. So when I look towards journalists, usually there's a couple: Jez Corden, Tom Warren, and honestly, pretty much that's about it. I mean, Jason Schreier, I just don't like the guy, right? So Tom says, when I reviewed the Xbox Series X nearly 4 years ago, I called the console a next-gen PC. Not only did the Xbox look like a PC with its boxy, rectangular, tower-like case, but it also felt like one thanks to hardware upgrades that allowed it to run games with a variety of PC-like graphical modes. Now, as we approach the next generation of Xbox, it looks like Microsoft is about to close the gap between Xbox and PC even further. Now, take in mind also, he wrote this back in April 18th. Okay. 3 months after Hip Hop Gamers info, and then Jez Corden just had his article that he put out. I think Jez has done some similar stuff in the meantime as well. So, Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer has teased some potentially massive Xbox platform changes in recent weeks. At the same time, leaked internal memos have revealed an increased focus inside Microsoft. And this is where this stuff that I wanted to highlight specifically from Tom Warren and about that addresses a lot of the concerns that some people in the Xbox community have had about this, right? Leaked internal memos have revealed an increased focus inside Microsoft on Xbox game preservation and forward compatibility. When you put all the breadcrumbs together, it feels like we're about to see Microsoft combine all the good parts of Windows and Xbox for its next generation console. Spencer recently said in an interview with Polygon that the Xbox team is thinking about how to open up its ecosystem and embrace PC stores like the Epic Game Store and itch.io. It's a radical rethinking of the Xbox console model, and Spencer doesn't usually tease things like this unless it's something Microsoft is seriously considering. To be able to open up the Xbox to PC stores and embrace a more open model, several things need to happen that I get the sense are in motion inside Microsoft. First and foremost, it will need to make the console capable of running PC games. That's one of the things, right? So already, now if you look at if you go to, I'm not saying this is what we should all expect or like to be cloud based, but if you look at the xbox.com/play via Edge browser, there's actually a section for mouse and keyboard games, even if you boot it up on a tablet, right? So part of this is one of the reasons I wanted to bring Tom Warren's attention here is because it'll need to make the console capable of running PC games, but they'll also need to make the PC games playable within the whole ecosystem in that case, right? If you're trying to really make Xbox everywhere, you kind of combine everything into one and then have that be the de facto ecosystem. And that's, for me, that's more like a dream, right? Now they've already started doing work on this. Okay, this is where I wanted to get into where how I have confidence, because the Xbox app, they just recently added like 400 something games into the Xbox app, and some of those got added dual entitlement on the PC that didn't have it before. So if you had already bought the game on Xbox on a console, all of a sudden that game shows up as downloadable natively on the Xbox app on PC. So more and more developers also that are putting their games on Xbox, and especially ones that used to skip, like Square Enix, are also taking advantage of Xbox Anywhere and doing dual entitlement to make it to where you can download your game natively on console and on the PC. Also, with the cloud aspect to it, part of what Xbox is doing is they're trying to make every game that you own playable via the cloud. So in the future, I think that's going to merge everything into one subscription to where you have access to everything, like kind of like you do now, but playable on all the devices. Again, on a tablet, you can still there's a section that says mouse and keyboard games, right? So that's evidence to where they're thinking. Plus, adding all the extra games into the Xbox app, doing game ownership via the cloud, all these things are just the starting point of all of this, right? And this is the work that they're doing. They also said they have more news coming about the Xbox app at, I think it was at GDC in March. So look forward to that news as well. Shout out to God Emperor Sofa King. Welcome to the speculators, man. With one membership joining the channel, appreciate you, God Emperor Sofa King, and yeah. So let's get back into the article here. So that doesn't mean Xbox owners will suddenly be booting into, and this is what some people are confused about. That doesn't mean the Xbox owners will suddenly be booting into Windows desktop with a start menu and pop-up ads for Bing. But it could mean that a future Xbox console would lean more towards the PC side of game development. Microsoft has been trying to bridge this development gap for years with projects like GameCore. a method that makes it easier for developers to package up games that use both Xbox and PC services and run as container based apps. While Microsoft has promised the biggest technical leap ever in a generation for its next Xbox console, the company has also set up a new team. Now, this is key, right? The company has also set up a new team dedicated to preserving existing Xbox games. Okay, this is something that not a lot of people have reported on. Okay, but this also, again, I go back to the Sarah Bond thing that happened back in February, where they had the roundtable when she was highlighting what makes the Xbox ecosystem and Xbox ecosystem. It was a couple key things, and one of them, which was very important to me, that she said, because as somebody that buys games digitally, invests in games digitally, and as all of us that do should care about, is forward compatibility, not just backwards compatibility. I've been saying, using the term forward compatibility for a couple years now, about Xbox being the only ones that I really trust to make sure my games are going to be playable in the future. It's something you haven't really had to worry about on PC for a very long time, but in the console space, it's always something you got to think about. Like, is there a guarantee that I'm going to be able to play my games on this ecosystem in the future? Anybody with purchasing digital content where it's not on a disc, where we're past physical media and all that kind of stuff, we got to think about making sure the games that we buy and purchase are going to be usable in the future. Because if it's a digital library, it's not necessarily going to translate to new hardware if they don't make sure. So it's very important for that. So forward compatibility was always an important aspect to me of digital ownership and digital libraries, and they're the only ones talking about this, right? So it says we're building on our strong history of delivering backwards compatibility to our players, um, and we remain committed to bringing forward the amazing library of Xbox games for future generations of players to enjoy. Xbox President Sarah Bond wrote recently in a leaked internal memo. And remember this, people say that, well, that we shouldn't listen to them, all this other kind of stuff. Well, this is just them talking to their employees. This is them talking to themselves about where they're going. Wasn't meant for our ears. But this is the stuff that they're focusing on. This is the stuff, again, that we're seeing them implement with these changes that I talked about earlier already. They are setting the table. They're growing it, doing everything necessary to make all of this possible right now. This feels like a team being set up to transition away from the idea of Xbox and PC games being two separate things, while also ensuring that existing games continue to run on future consoles that adopt this new way of operating. It would open up the Xbox to run a lot more games and make it easier on developers. Microsoft opening up its a console to rival PC stores comes with some risk and rewards, but it shouldn't come as a surprise. 2 years ago, Microsoft said it was committed to opening up its Xbox platform to the App Store principles it put in place for its Windows App Store, which allows developers to use alternative systems for in app payments. We will build our next generation game store based on these new principles, said Microsoft President Brad Smith at the time. And what they're talking about there is in regards to them going after Apple and Google and all of those storefronts, saying that they should be allowed to have their storefronts on those app stores, instead of using the app stores natively on those devices. You should be able to use the Microsoft App Store or whatever app store, and it should be open options for everybody. And they said that they, at the time when they were making the argument to um, FTC and everybody, that this is something that they were committed to. And we had conversations about this on our channel at the time, discussing that, yeah, it's really like them saying that because they want to be everywhere. They want their app store, they want their game store, the Xbox ecosystem, the Microsoft ecosystem, to be available on every device, right? By opening up theirs, also but they will also be able to be in other places. So we already see that this is kind of happening with the case of FTC and Google and all that's been going on. They were granted a temporary stay until an appeal can be looked at. But already the courts had ruled in favor of Epic against Google in that case. So at any point now, once that court makes a decision, you could see the ability via app on Google devices to purchase your games through the actual through Xbox store, the app process that will bypass Google's store, and Google won't get the 30% or whatever their fee is. So very important stuff going on with all that. So if Microsoft goes down this road, opening up the Xbox platform will dramatically shift the economics of Xbox console hardware. Microsoft typically sells its Xbox consoles at a loss that it recoups through sales of games. If rival PC stores are on an Xbox, then subsidizing hardware gets far more complicated and could lead to more expensive consoles. I think we're already past the days of all of these console manufacturers being willing to take a massive loss on the hardware anyway, as evidenced by the PS5 Pro. Um, console hardware market is not growing. I forget who just had a video. I think it was Destin had a video. Somebody was saying he had a good video about that. Xbox and general console hardware is not growing. So these companies are looking elsewhere to grow their user bases, right? PlayStation's going to PC. Slowly they're shrinking that gap. Xbox is trying to go everywhere else as well as console, including including PlayStation and also Nintendo. Nintendo is the only one that is going to stick more so to their traditional model because they're the ones that already make profit on their hardware. And when the Switch 2 comes out, when it launches, they'll be making a profit on every Switch 2 that sells. So their ideas of everything are a little different. They're going to be one of the leaders in the handheld / hybrid market by de facto because they're Nintendo. The same market that also PlayStation and Microsoft are also going after with their handheld devices, as much as also these other PC handheld manufacturers. So, Spencer admitted in an interview with Polygon recently that subsidizing hardware is more challenging in today's world of pricey components and a lack of overall console market growth. So, I think, what are the barriers? What are the things that create friction in today's world for creators and players? And how can we be a part of opening up that model? Asked Spencer. Opening up the underlying model of Xbox to be more PC like could also enable third party Xbox consoles in the future. This is another key aspect to this, and we're going to get into this in Jez's article. But if it's doing lots of software work to open up its platform and make it easier for developers to build games, then why not extend that to even more hardware? Completely what Xbox wants. All of these potential Xbox platform changes will also apply to handhelds. And I think this is a big part of Microsoft's overall thinking here. Valve has shown that the Steam Deck is a viable console. Years after it tried and failed to make Xbox like Steam machines a reality, the Steam Deck is powered by a custom Linux OS that utilizes Proton, a compatibility layer for Windows games to run on Linux. Proton has been key to making Steam Deck a success because without it, developers would have to do a lot more work to port their games to Linux. Exactly what we're talking about, kind of something here with Xbox, right? Microsoft is rumored to be working on an Xbox handheld, and while I'm not expecting the traditional next generation Xbox console to run on ARM based chips, I think they make a lot more sense in an Xbox handheld form factor. For an Xbox handheld to be successful, it will have to leverage the strengths of Windows and Xbox in a smart combination. He goes on to talk about his ideal for Xbox handheld. It would run Windows at its core, but never exposes to you. So it looks and feels like an Xbox console, but if you want to run Steam games or Xbox games, you can. Microsoft has the ability to run the Xbox OS on Windows and has experimented with doing exactly that in the past. Also, we already know from Phil Spencer that they have multiple prototypes in development, and they're a few years away from launching a Xbox native handheld type device. The Steam Deck might have only sold a few million units so far, but it represents the biggest threat to Xbox consoles and window-based gaming ever. Valve has managed to create a console-like experience for PC games, and it has access to all of the best Xbox and PlayStation exclusive games through its Steam store. Microsoft's response to Steam Deck has been muted so far, but the company has formed a new Xbox experiences and platforms team that will help improve the Windows experience on handhelds. Also, just recently, we found out that Jason Ronald has a new title called VP of Next Generation, one of the coolest fucking titles I've ever heard of for a job. I want that on a t-shirt. Sounds awesome. I want to be able to boot into the Xbox app in a full screen, but in a compact mode, said Spencer recently, discussing handhelds in a Polygon interview. Like, I want it to feel like the dash of my Xbox when I turn on the TV, except I want it on those devices. Very clearly stated, right? If Microsoft can pull off merging Xbox and Windows together, it might truly achieve its Xbox Everywhere vision, the idea that every screen is an Xbox. Now, remember when Phil Spencer was made CEO of Microsoft Gaming and all this transitional stuff after the ABK merger, and he got his promotion, all these other kind of things that were happening. Windows is now under that arm, so it makes a lot of sense. Also, Surface is as well. So they are really working on kind of unifying the Xbox gaming ecosystem in all facets right now, which is very interesting. All right, so that's Tom Warren's article. Again, this was back in April, and it didn't like. I don't remember it getting a lot of traction at that point. There were a lot of rumors going on about it, but it for some it just seemed more like speculation about like far-fetched speculation and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the background, a lot of podcasters are all talking, before shows and all this other kind of stuff, and everybody kind of believes like all this is happening. Like this seems legitimate. Like this is what the next generation is going to be like, and it's going to be different, right? I think part of them putting games on PlayStation, all those other kind of things that they're doing, is actually just kind of like, well, they're going to be pretty secure with getting all their games in their ecosystem. They have so much in the pipeline that they're just going to maximize the value and the profit on all the games that they have, and they're going to offer us some kind of compelling hardware that we're going to either buy into or not. But regardless, we're going to have access to the ecosystem on so many damn devices out there that it's just up to the people which one they want to buy. It is like, if you want a handheld, do you want a console? Do you want to play on your PC? Hey, if you love PlayStation, you go and you're one of those customers that just wants to stick to the traditional model, and you can play some of the Xbox games over there and just buy them outright for $70, right? Like there's so many different ways that they're doing this, right? Yo, Free Bear, hit us with 5 fun speculation memberships. Choo choo, motherfuckers. Choo choo. I appreciate you, Free Bear, for the gifteds. I was trying to find my video, man. Here, I'll do this.
Choo choo, choo choo.
There it goes. I know it was on that source. So hey, choo choo, motherfuckers. Appreciate you, Free Bear, and everybody here. Again, supports always appreciated, never expected here. Jay Rembert says, I heard reports that Gears E-Day is 2025. I don't believe that. Where did you hear that? I don't believe that. Poison Maniac says this Xbox and Windows OS combination sounds pretty good. They need to make sure it's done right. 100%. How it can be done right? Make sure I have access to all my fucking games. Right? Make sure it's a good ecosystem. Make sure I have access to all my games. I'm good. Right? All right, so that was The Verge's article, right? That was Tom Warren. Now I want to get into Jez's article. Now he had put this up 2 days ago. He's been talking a lot about this. A lot of people have, because of all the conversation after Outer Worlds 2 was put on the Game Awards, and they saw the PlayStation thing. There was all this outcry again. Then Satya Nadella said, we're changing or redefining what it means to be an Xbox fans, and people's minds exploded, and tears came out, and uh emotions were high, and people needed their teddy bear to coddle themselves because they didn't want to be redefined, and all these other kind of things. Like, this is just ridiculous conversations everywhere about that stuff. The overall, he was mentioning that regarding all these other devices, that Xbox um is becoming more of a good experience on, and them promoting that via that ad, right? But let's get into this article from Jez, who wrote this. Says, predicting the actually very exciting future of next gen Xbox hardware. An analyst recently said that next gen, only either Xbox or PlayStation will survive as a console manufacturer. Here's why that's silly. There was an analyst that had said there's only room for one like major player besides Nintendo for next gen. Tom Warren said that about Gears Z Day. That's interesting. If Tom Warren said that about a Gears Z Day, I'm a little bit more intrigued. But like, I don't know, man. 2025 for that? That would, well, they surprised the hell out of me with Outer Worlds 2. I didn't think there was a fucking chance in hell that was going to be announced for 2025. And yet it was. So could Gears Z Day be 2025? That would be knuckin' futz. But I guess I don't know. Like, if people like Tom Warren and like Jez were to say something like that, or other people, like, and then I start to listen a little bit, but I want to know exactly what he said. You just heard that if it comes, will be late 2025. You heard December 2025, so there's a chance maybe go up to 2026. Brett says, when is the next funeral? Xbox has died more times than Baron Samedi off of Live and Let Die. Fuck, man. Yeah, there's been so many Xbox funerals. There's been so many like Xbox is dead conversations this year. It's been just absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'm telling you, man, it's like there's a couple of continuous conversations that keep going online and on the internet, on social media, revolving around gaming, and it's been like exhausting just to open social media and just read. It's like, what has society turned into? Why are we here? What's going on? I feel like I'm living in idiocracy a lot of times. I really do. But it's where we live in. Tom said that around the showcase Gears E-Day announcement. No worries, Brett. Appreciate you, man. All right, so as Jez holds up his Razer Xbox controller, he says, what does Xbox next gen look like? I think there's more hints out there than many potentially realize. There's definitely a lot of hints out there. And Xbox has given the hints themselves. Recently, a game analyst predicted that next gen there won't be room in the high-end console market for both PlayStation and Xbox, insinuating essentially that Xbox would have to die. That's dumb for a variety of reasons, but we'll focus on the more obvious ones right now. As we head into 2025, the hardware we use to play games on is becoming increasingly incidental. I wrote recently how Xbox mostly won't have Xbox exclusives moving forward, but it may not even matter. Increasingly, PlayStation is bringing its games to Steam, and Valve is about to let manufacturers build consoles based on its OS, which will be full of PlayStation's games anyway. In that universe, the very idea of the console exclusive game becomes a little silly. The future of gaming from the platform holder's perspective, at least generally, is going to revolve around content and software sales, which is what PlayStation and Xbox have already been saying for a long time now anyway. It's all about content. It's about active users. It's about sales. It's about monetization. It's about how many users you have, the engagement that they have, and how much money they're spending in your ecosystem. Let's see here. RC Polygons hit us with a 5. Appreciate you, RC Polygon. Says, I think Xbox should push towards buy more publishers. as if Xbox controls over the biggest gains, it can push other developers to follow Xbox moves. I think that's already happening with publishers following Xbox's moves. I'll get into that a little bit, but I mean, we already see other subscription services. Obviously, after Game Pass was announced and Game Pass became a thing, you have you had EA subscription service, you have Ubisoft subscription service, right? PlayStation ended up doing their subscription service, and it's not day and date games like some of the other ones have, but they still have their sub service as well. Nintendo ended up doing their subscription service. The publishers are consolidating more throughout the industry, and not just Xbox. There's been a lot of acquisitions, been a lot of layoffs, a lot of streamlining. You're going to have, if people are sick of acquisitions and layoffs and consolidation and all these other kind of things, when they look into the future, as things become more service based, that's going to continue to happen even more so, because there's only going to be a certain amount of room for people to have so many different services, right? So you'll have services competing against each other. Same thing happened with TV and music and all these other kind of things, right? You're gonna have more consolidation, all these different kind of things end up happening, and you're gonna have the companies most capable of developing and putting out the best value and features and services as the ones that are in the forefront. Gaming is going in that direction, right? Whether we like to admit it or not, that's going to be the future. I don't know how long it takes to get there. Gaming is already far behind movies and TV and music when it comes to that. Music was kind of first, TV, gaming, and the reason why gaming is so far behind is because technology and the capability of doing something like that was not there until now. And now it's becoming more and more feasible. And it takes a company like Microsoft that has all of the facets that they do, all the capabilities that they do, to be able to try and realize the vision of this. So they're out early on this stuff, right? A little too early for some. But after ABK acquisition actually happened, they didn't want to guide everybody along the slow process. They just said, let's put the pedal to the fucking metal and let's go. They accelerated it, right? So again, right? So this says the hardware that content lives on, will become increasingly incidental as more and more users adopt device agnostic platforms like Steam and cloud to build their gaming libraries. So will Xbox have to exit hardware completely next gen? I believe that in fact the opposite will be true. Instead of there being fewer Xbox branded devices next gen, there will be more than ever. But they might not all be built by Microsoft itself. Again, here's where we're talking about the whole ecosystem, the OS, all that stuff being implemented. Xbox put a Windows OEM vet in charge of hardware back in 2023. As Microsoft has expanded its gaming footprint, so too has it needed to split duties across various disciplines. Overseeing Xbox hardware at a high level is Sarah Bond, current president of Xbox. All the hardware and platform teams answer into Sarah, who is charged with executing Microsoft's Xbox Everywhere strategy. Below Sarah Bond is Jason Ronald, who is now known as VP of Next Gen. Jason is in charge of specifically of executing the new Xbox hardware ecosystem from first party. However, there's another individual that the Xbox community rarely talks about. She who actually leads Xbox's hardware ecosystem. Roanne Sones, I think is her name, came to Xbox a couple years ago. Sones is a 22-year Microsoft vet and was previously Microsoft Windows OEM lead, responsible for developing partnerships between Microsoft and PC manufacturers like Dell, Lenovo, Asus, and so on. I met Roanne Sones at an event in LA a couple years ago, where Xbox's initial shoots of a multi-device future started to take shape. In the press area, Microsoft had set up all of the devices that it considers part of the Xbox ecosystem. which goes far beyond the Xbox Series X and S consoles that traditionalists consider as being the only Xbox. On deck were devices like the Asus ROG Ally, a PC gaming handheld, which was new at the time. The Xbox Series X and S were present naturally. We also had devices like the Razer Kishi V2 Pro mobile controller grip and the Logitech G Cloud Android streaming handheld. This was way before Microsoft's partnered up with Samsung for cloud gaming directly on TVs or Amazon for cloud gaming directly on Fire Sticks. Even back then, it was a strong visual hint at what Rowan's tenure at Xbox would be like. Soames was clearly specifically brought in to help forge Xbox's future, which increasingly looks a lot more like Valve and Steam than PlayStation and Nintendo. Next month at CES 2025, Valve will debut their first non-Valve Steam PCs in partnership with Lenovo. Xbox's Jason Ronald will also be there, doubtless to discuss how Microsoft is working hard to improve Windows on PC gaming handhelds. Today, Windows has a huge compatibility advantage over SteamOS and distros like Bazite, but the latter have big performance and usability advantages. SteamOS is far, far more intuitive on a gaming handheld, and when it's coupled with Valve's Proton emulation layer, it presents an existential threat to Windows itself potentially, which isn't always the most optimized gaming platform for consumers. But what does this mean for today's Xbox console customer? What does it have to do with the next gen systems? Despite some minor variances, the Xbox and PlayStation platforms are virtually identical these days, both based on an x86 AMD chips that diverge almost arbitrarily. As cost in general rise and new users into the gaming ecosystem flatline, the ability to grow margins to deliver for stakeholders becomes constrained. To solve this, publishers um, ram games with microtransactions, pre-order bonuses, premium early access, and various other strategies to squeeze more money out of the existing user base. Another potentially less self-destructive way developers could save money is if porting games between systems was even more streamlined. While the Xbox ecosystem arguably has better support than it ever has, third-party support could be boosted even further if it was even more closely aligned with Windows PC, which remains the far bigger platform. Microsoft is currently working towards this goal, and I have it on good authority the development platform for the next gen Xbox ecosystem will be more Windows like than it has ever been before. Developers will be able to deploy their games to the Microsoft Store across PC and the next gen Xbox consoles more easily than ever, in theory. In essence, it's my prediction that the next gen Xbox consoles will essentially be more PC like than ever before. Xbox CEO Phil Spencer has hinted as much as when he described his desire to bring third party stores like Epic and GOG to Xbox consoles. You can't really achieve that if the console itself can't run Win32 game packages natively. Furthermore, it's my prediction and hope that by making the next Xbox more Windows like than ever for consumers, I would hope that Xbox Play Anywhere becomes a standard requirement for publishers. If everything is an Xbox as Microsoft describes, then I need to be able to take my games from this Windows-ified Xbox console to my laptop PC to cloud services to a Samsung smart fridge. Xbox Play Anywhere is the Xbox ecosystem's most underrated feature, and that universe Microsoft is trying to develop. 100% agree with Jez here. And right now, it's fairly limited. Right now, it is, yes, but again, they are just starting on the cloud ownership aspect, and they already mentioned that much more games are coming soon. So they just launched out of test mode. So we have 50 games now that you own that are Xbox Play Anywhere, and they're expanding upon that soon. So they're already getting really ramped up on this. The other thing, again, like I mentioned before earlier in the stream, is the Xbox app adding more games with dual entitlement and putting more games into that app is, for me, in preparation of all of this. They're trying to give you access to all the games, and they're trying to make it to where you can play all the games anywhere. That's their ultimate goal, right? They got a lot of work to do, but the work has started and it is going. Now, those things that are happening aren't talked about by a lot of the Xbox community because it's not focused on consoles. It's not focused on, you know, that aspect. Instead, it's used as a, oh, they're focusing on other things instead of the console, right? But these things are adding value to us as a consumer in the Xbox ecosystem. So it should be, for me, celebrated because they're the only ones doing all this. They're the only ones adding all these games and giving us access more to the games that we already own and play. I'm going to celebrate that every day of the week. Um, Xbox Play Anywhere is the Xbox's ecosystem's most underrated feature in that universe Microsoft is trying to develop, and right now it's fairly limited, especially on games that never arrived in Xbox Game Pass. More developers are opting in without a Game Pass deal, though. Yes, 100%. Metaphor, Death Stranding, and Final Fantasy Pixel remasters being a few recent examples. Also, Dragon Quest 2D HD remix. You have even games like Soul Hackers 2 showed up there. Guardians of the Galaxy is a dual entitlement. Like there's several games that show up for me now as dual entitlement in the on the PC natively. Furthermore, I would hope that at least for next gen systems, Microsoft will drop the anachronistic paywall for premium multiplayer games, which is another key point because if we have a Xbox PC console in the future and we have access to Steam and other things for your Windows mode, it would suck having to pay a subscription for multiplayer just to access our multiplayer games and play online. However, for me, I'm going to have a good Game Pass Ultimate subscription anyway, so it doesn't necessarily affect me. But yeah, I get what he's saying. It would make absolutely zero sense if I could run the Epic Store on my Xbox and be asked to pay for multiplayer. Dropping the paywall for next gen only might also encourage existing Xbox users to upgrade at a greater cadence than we've seen between the Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S Generation 2. If the shiny new Xbox device is a PC, then it needs to behave like one, both for consumers and developers. And manufacturers, for that matter. This is the other part, right? Given Rowan Sohn's expertise, you'd have to assume that this Windows-like Xbox ecosystem would also lend itself to a licensing model. Again, what is happening soon with Steam, as we just heard in the Just Gordon article, third-party manufacturers are going to be making Steam-based devices. In the future, we could be looking at Xbox-based devices, multiple kinds of hardware, console PC hybrid devices that are hooked up for the TV. You can have handhelds, all these other kind of things. Absolutely could happen. Much like Steam is doing with Steam OS. We already see an early version of this where with stuff like the ROG Ally and all those kind of things. But the ROG Ally right now is not have that perfect experience in it like a Steam OS ecosystem built in natively to launch into does. But imagine that if it did, right? Imagine that if you could go right now and buy a new ROG Ally and you boot it up and it's just an Xbox and you have access to everything. For me, that's like, hey, awesome. That sounds great. I would own one right now. If that was the case. Let's see. Manufacturers like Lenovo, Asus, and others that are building SteamOS gaming devices would also be able to build their own Xbox OS gaming devices. For Microsoft, this would solve their global footprint issue when it comes to distributing hardware. Microsoft is historically poor at marketing and representing its products with retailers outside of the US. What if you could get Samsung to promote their own Xbox hardware locally in Korea? What if you could get an Asus Xbox promoted in Taiwan? Microsoft could keep the spec recommendations tight to ensure consistency for console consumers who expect things to just work, while also having OEMs develop devices and price points that perhaps have stronger regional appeal. Execution is absolutely key and nowhere near guaranteed. Yes, this is where he gets into all the parts about like, it sounds great, but they got to make it fucking work. I'm just going to surmise it as that. But like going into what he had in the article, I kind of wanted to shape what his predictions were via this article. And then also what Tom Warren had speculated on as well in his article. And it all sounds legitimate to me. And it seems like a lot of the rumblings that we've been hearing for a while now in the Xbox community So, will you need to buy one of these? I would say it's up to you, right? If you are a Xbox customer, right? If you're an Xbox customer, I think you're going to have some years before you have to make a decision on making what to buy next generation. Already, your console is going to be able to run games for, I don't know, let's see, 5 more years. I just accidentally unplugged my camera. Let's see if it comes back on. 5 more years, maybe. Hold on, let me deactivate this and reactivate it and see what happens. Come on, camera. There we go. Sorry about that. And now it looks like shit. Anyway. All right. Yeah, so I mean, how long did they support Xbox One this gen? It went into like 2022. I mean, there's still a lot of games that come out for Xbox One in general. So I don't think people are gonna have to like make that like hard choice. Or what am I gonna do right away? Because I think the games are also going to look and play great. I think they're gonna play great and look great on your Series X and S consoles for a long time. Um, so people worried too much about what that is are gonna be able to like look into, yeah, me being a damn boomer, I know, are going to be able to look at everything that's out there and make an educated decision based on everything that's happened, right? So if you're concerned, you're going to have plenty of time to decide what's best for you in the space if you're already a console user. This is about speculation about what's going to happen in the future, and I think it's a good thing. I want to go into a couple comments here. Angie Wells said, selling a console is selling your ecosystem. Microsoft has failed. A console is already like a PC. What the fuck is Microsoft doing? And then said, gaming ain't like movies. The fact that you literally can't play fighting games streaming, it requires a constant 60 frames per second. Well, you're talking about in the world we live in today, right? But we're speculating about things that are happening in the future. If you compare cloud gaming today to what it was even 4 or 5 years ago, or shit, 2 years. Wait, when did cloud gaming actually launch? Like 3 years ago? Like 4 years ago? I don't know. If you compare it now compared to then, oh my god, it's night and day difference. Imagine that 6 years from now, 7 years from now, 8 years from now. Imagine it when all of it's being ran on the higher end spec server blades out there and all these other kind of things, and optimization on it's even better, and AI stuff is able to help it even more, and all these other kind of things that I don't understand, but like basically technology improves. We can't look at the way something is today and expect it to always be the same. Cloud gaming, or cloud in general, like just 10 years ago, was basically just being able to save something to the cloud, right? You got to look at where technology is going. All the changes Xbox is making and doing is based on technological advancements. It's based on the capability now to do things that were impossible in the past. Otherwise, they would have done it a long time ago. If you were to talk about the best way to have an ecosystem for any platform, it would have been to be able to just have your games available every fucking possible place so that way people can buy it. They want to make money like on the games. The consoles are always a basically, it was a gate and a key to enter the ecosystem so that way they can sell us products, right? And that's what the consoles are today. And that's why they have exclusive games, is to sell the hardware to make us excited to buy that. So then we will own it and we will buy that game, but we'll also spend money on the other games, right? That's cool. That's what the model's always been. But the reason that that all the business model existed that way is so that way we could get into the ecosystem. Now, if you have the ecosystem every fucking where, you don't need a console. And here's the key thing. Xbox doesn't want you to need a console. If you want a console, they want to sell you a console, but they also want people who don't want to buy a console to be able to still play their games. So in order to make this happen, requires change. It requires advancement. It requires technology. It requires all of these things that they've been working on. It requires the cloud. It requires them to have a more unified ecosystem. It requires them to be able to have their games running on a phone, on a tablet, on a TV without a box. It requires all of these things. And that's what they're doing. Does it mean that if you want a console, that you can't buy and play on the console? No, it doesn't mean that. In fact, they have continuously doubled and tripled down on that, in which people choose to ignore. Now, what is that console? What is that experience? It's advancing and morphing into something that's better than we've ever had before, because it's going to potentially, if all of these rumors are true, going to give us access to games we've been missing out on as console owners for generations. You're telling me, as a console owner, if you're looking to buy a console in the future, you go to the store, you buy a console. Hey, if I get this console, I can plug it into my TV. I get every fucking Xbox game and Game Pass day and date. I get my entire library of every Xbox game I've ever played and had and owned. Plus, also, this whole PC world that I've completely ignored and been absent to and didn't even know anything about is now available to me as well. And I can actually take advantage of sales in those storefronts as well. I can actually take advantage of the library that I may even actually owning some games in and access them there as well. I can access all my shit on one box that's plugged into my TV, including the Xbox ecosystem that has full support from all of the games. You telling me that's a bad thing? You telling me that doesn't sound good? That sounds fucking incredible. That sounds like a dream I would have had as a kid. Could you imagine one gaming device that you can play console games and PC games, and you also get a subscription to day and date games from every first party game they put out, and including if you want to go game on a tablet, or you're on vacation or wherever, or you're like want to have a handheld and you decide that you want to have something to take around with you, or you also want a traditional console just to plug into the TV, or hey, I'm a casual guy, I don't even know, I have a TV with an app, I don't even need a box, I don't care about the best quality, I just want to play some games. They have the options for everybody. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. You can't tell me that doesn't sound like better than being gatekept to a box. That's purpose of the exclusives is just made to sell the box. I'd rather buy the device than buy the box based on the features and the services and the games available on it in general. And if you tell me I have way more games available than ever before, I'm going to choose that motherfucker every day of the week, because it has the games I want at the best value possible. If you want to feel special because something is only there, go buy a PlayStation and spend more money on a device where you have less options. If that's what you want to do to yourself, because they have Ghost of Yotei, they have Wolverine, they have this and it's nowhere else. Go ahead, get it. That's fine. If you can buy the Xbox games over there and you can feel extra special about it because you made that decision. Doesn't harm anybody. But for people that are looking forward to this potential future, I'm just saying, hey, for me, it's a game changer. I got a Steam library. I got an Xbox library. I got my Game Pass library. You tell me I can have all that shit in one on just buying a box and plugging it in my TV. I don't have to worry about, getting a PC and doing all this other bullshit to it and all this stuff. Oh, fuck yeah, man. I'm all in on that. Give me that, please. That's basically what they're doing with Steam. What a Steam that's Steam Deck. Steam Deck right now, you can do that. It just takes a lot of workaround shit to make it happen. A ROG Ally now, you can do a lot of that, but you're only accessing right now the Xbox PC games, the PC games, yeah, Xbox storefront and stuff. Right? What they're trying to do is give you access to the console games too. Like, and make it smoother, simpler experience. I hope this pans out, and what we gotta worry about is that they achieve it. Like Jez said in his article, the idea is amazing. I'm not worried or going to attack the idea or whatsoever. Right? The idea sounds perfect. The only thing is, can they actually achieve it? And again, I'll point to the moves that they're doing that nobody's talking about. The Xbox app, the library of extra games that they all just dumped in there, several of them adding dual entitlement, adding game ownership to the cloud, all these other things that they're doing are because of these moves of taking us to that direction. In January, we're going to have Jason Ronald, head of Xbox Next Gen, talk at the CES event. And then in March, they're going to have more news about the Xbox app at GDC. And then in the future, when we would get next generation consoles and other stuff announced, we'll even get more information. But I'm curious how far away we are before they are actually able to do third-party devices. That could come before next generation actually happens. That might be the thing that we're actually closer to. Because it doesn't require them to make a specific dedicated device. It requires them to have a dedicated game development like pipeline of or OS thing that people can target towards making at that point. Like that's something different than actually having a native hardware that you're making yourself. That's a product, right? This is going to be more of a software service, software platform. So we'll see how maybe that comes out sooner, right? That would be amazing. I don't know. E-Rink says that's way too convenient, Mav. No one wants that. The Duck of Death says Xbox games could have been third party from jump, though. It was always possible. Instead, we had decades of exclusivity before they threw it into reverse at full speed. Yeah, so the Duck of Death, that's because more things are possible now. Right? Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, but before you needed to sell the box to sell the game. Before you needed to sell the box to sell the games. Now, are they just interested in being on PlayStation's storefront only in that case? Because that's really where it would have went. They would have just been a third party publisher on PlayStation, and they would have been relegated to making the 70% they get there plus whatever they get in the PC store. Instead, they carved out a much larger place for them in the console space. They gathered a shit ton of gaming subscriptions. They get 100% or whatever from their storefront, right? They also have a storefront on PC as well. Now that that's established and the console market isn't really growing anymore, the console market is actually kind of shrinking. People are migrating to PCs, handheld gaming devices. The younger generations care even less about consoles than we did. So they're going to be playing on tablets and and mobile games and all these other kind of things more so than caring about having to own a console in the future. So where are they looking at? They want to be in where how many times they told us they want to be where the gamers are, right? So to the enthusiasts, they're still going to sell us a box for all of us that want to take advantage of all the features of the ecosystem. They're going to sell probably most of their games on other devices as well, maybe some kind of forms of exclusivity where timed exclusivity or not. And then they're also going to give us our options for hardware and subscription services. So that's where they're going, man. Like that's where the future of gaming is going. They're a little early on it, like as far as all of these, but again, a lot of this didn't come from their mouths right now. We have a lot of this coming from leaks and rumors and speculation, insiders, but the hints are there coming from some of their mouths, right? And then also the fact that they did start putting some of their games on PlayStation and all this other kind of stuff led us to even further think about the future and where things are going when exclusivity becomes less and less important and it becomes more about libraries and ecosystems. And they're just saying, hey, we're not wanting to sell to 30, 40, 50 million gamers anymore. But if they could achieve 60 something million, maybe, or whatever, we're going after what they said, like they did before, like billions of gamers, right? That's what they're doing. And is a console, because it's not the sole focus, less of a focus for them? Sure. But as a consumer, I would say we might all benefit from them having a grander scope because our access and the value to our games and also the preservation and the future compatibility of our games will be more important than ever to Microsoft. Also, if you look at the grand scheme of what they're doing and how far reaching the Xbox ecosystem and storefronts could go, you talk about third parties wanting to abandon Xbox and not be a part of their storefronts. How about, yeah, we want to be in front of all those gamers' eyes that we weren't in front of before? Do they want people on mobile devices and TVs without a console and uh all these other gamers playing on whatever to be able to have access to purchase their games? Sure as fuck they do. Talking about, hey, before we just sold to like maybe like 80 million PlayStation users, maybe like 40 million console users or Xbox users or whatever the numbers turn out to be. Now you talk about I can be in front of a billion eyes with my game by making this and just allowing for the dual entitlement thing. Yeah. Sounds like advantage to the developers, sounds like an advantage to Xbox because they're the only ones capable of doing that right now. I've been using now I come from this, I think maybe from a different perspective than a lot because I'm somebody who's actually taking advantage of all the aspects of the Xbox ecosystem right now, whereas a lot of people are just only on console, right? And if a lot of people watch our content because we do a lot of Xbox content and stuff, primarily Xbox stuff, obviously here because that's really what I care about, right? You're maybe a console enthusiast and purist, and that's just what you play on, and that's it, right? And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. They're still going to make a device for you. But I'm somebody that has, as this generation has gone on, been taking advantage more and more of the other aspects of the Xbox ecosystem. The Xbox PC stuff, I boot it up every day and play games on it now. I play games on the console still, and then at night when I'm in bed, I'll have my tablet and I'll do cloud gaming, which again, I challenge everybody to try if you have a good internet connection. Granted, try it, see what you think at the improvements that they've made because it's been pretty drastic for me. Especially playing on my tablet. This has been absolutely amazing. This is how I launch it. I don't know if everybody gets the same experience no matter what application they use or whatever, but I use the Edge browser on my tablet. I boot up Edge browser. I just go to xbox.com/play. And then I have access to the 50 games right now via game ownership that they have, or what the games that I own through there. Like NBA 2K25 is one I've been playing quite a bit that way. And then also you have your whole Game Pass library, right? So you have access to that, all the ones that are playable in the cloud. Now they want to unify all that and get everything playable everywhere, right? But the quality improvement that I see what I'm playing now when I'm playing that way, like I don't mind playing like that at all right now. Like I'll boot it up on the tablet in the cloud. I'm like, this is fucking really good, and it's only going to get better. So I see that. I see when I want the best experience possible playing on my PC right here in front of my eyes, or also when I want to chill on the couch or whatever, and I got like a great experience playing on my consoles, and it feels kind of like at home. Like I'm taking advantage of all three aspects that way. So I see the value potential of that for me. I want every game I own to be accessible on the PC, on the console, and on the fucking cloud. And if that actually happens with what they're talking about wanting to do actually happens, and the quality improves everywhere, that's going to be fucking incredible for all of us. That's going to be incredible for all of us as gamers, as consumers. So if this all means that if that's the direction they're headed, I will champion that shit a million times out of a million, as opposed to the contrary of, hey, just make a game for a box. I get it. It sounds simpler. It sounds like the way it always used to be. It sounds like, hey, it's just so simple. Just make the game for a box. The box sells. You increase users. You get that people get excited about it. You get exclusive game on the box. You sell the box. People own the box. You buy more games because they own the box. Hey, bing a bang about a boom. Just that's the way it's always been. Just keep it going. Why you do this now? What everybody's thinking. But I'm like, like I'm kind of down with this fucking future. I get their business decisions on why they would see the value on potentially maybe they lose some console sales, right? Maybe they lose a decent amount of console sales. But I see the value of being in all those other devices in the future on all these other pieces of kind of hardware that they could be making that can run Xbox through some kind of software uh, enabled on Windows that kind of boots into an Xbox mode. I can see the value of that for sure. And they will consider those consoles because they will have access to it. They will have access to the games. They will have access to the storefront. They will make money on those consumers. So I completely see why they would be willing to trade off a portion of the console market for gamers that are buying all these other fucking things, and then still make money on the PlayStation consumers as well. They're just less concerned about you feeling like you need to own a box. If you want one, get one. They will still sell one to you and sell you the games and everything in that ecosystem. They want to sell you as much shit as possible. That's why they're not going to abandon the console market altogether. Because the heaviest spenders are us. The people that have grown up on the consoles, the people that are subscribed. They have like 25 plus million console Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. They're not going to say, hey, do 25 million Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. When you buy something else, you're going to have to buy something else because we don't have something for you. They're going to throw away all that revenue. It's just fucking crazy. They're going to make something for those people to buy, including me, and I will buy it. But I hope everything else they say is true because I want all that other shit that they're talking about that is rumored right now. I want all of that. I want it. Give it to me. When they talked about game ownership to the cloud, I want all of that. I want access to my games everywhere I am. I can do that with movies and TV and music. Why can't I do it with fucking video games? The technology's getting there. As the technology gets to the point, we should be asking every ecosystem to give us the same thing, not don't do that. Make my box feel more special, but give me less access. You're at that point, you're just rooting for the box, not for you. I don't root for a box. I root for myself and my best experience, right? Like, what do I want? What do I get? And if I get the best experience by my games being everywhere possible, that's fucking that is the best experience for me. The next generation of gamers don't want to be tied to a box. That is not how things work for them. Mav wants all the smoke. You think Signa says I think it's good if Halo comes to PlayStation. Hey, I could care less, man. The gamers can play whatever they want to play wherever they want to play it. In my mind, I just want Xbox to give me a great device next generation, and I'll play my games on that at the better value. If people want to play or pay more for the Halo campaign on a PlayStation that I already have access in my subscription, that's cool. Like I could care less. Mav Gogo Post says Mav, there's nothing wrong if you prefer games like Concord or Foam Stars. Well, there's a problem if you prefer games like Concord, Gogo, because it doesn't exist. Um, if you like Foam Stars, that's cool. I think they also mentioned that are they shutting the or not shutting it down, but they're stopping support on that one too. I don't know what you're getting at. Those are exclusives. Those were exclusives that were both failed. So you're saying like there's nothing wrong if you prefer exclusives? I'm confused. I don't get it. Uh those were both exclusives, man. I think if for what your logic is, what you're trying to do is say that I'm trying to promote games that are everywhere or whatever, like monetization based, like games of service games or something. I That's not what this conversation is about. But if that's what you're trying to do, use two really horrible examples because those are both exclusive. And part of the reasons why they failed. Fuzzy Tomato says live service games got to be everywhere if you want them to be successful long term. Yeah, I see the value in exclusives for selling boxes, right? I don't see the value in exclusives for me as a consumer. You were just trash talking. Oops. Yeah, do better next time, bro. Um, yeah, like I don't see value in exclusives for me as a consumer. I see value in exclusives for selling consoles, right? Like it doesn't affect me either way if somebody else gets to play a game. Like if somebody else is like, "Hey, I'm playing Halo and I'm having a great time," I'm like, "Fuck you, man! Why you do? You playing it on that? You should." Like I don't care. I care about like what I'm playing it on and how much I spent for it and the features that I get to it and how good my experience is when I play it. I don't care about that other fucker. Like let him spend what he wants and play what he wants on whatever he wants. I don't care. I care about what's giving me my experience. But I know the console war and the console like thing is like a big deal, right? And the competition between it. So it's created a very interesting dynamic in the gaming community that has become a little toxic. It's become really negative. It's become very interesting to see what people actually care about. Whereas used to think it was mainly the games and having games love for the games that are in your ecosystem and platform of choice. But it's always seemingly to some just about having something that somebody else doesn't. Um, and having that special feeling that I'm enjoying my experience more than you because I have this and you don't. I'm never really care too much about that. It's more so about, hey, I'm getting to enjoy this experience. Not that you don't. I could care less about what you do or what you play. What I like to criticize is when the companies do shit that isn't in the best service as us as consumers and gamers. So when I criticize Xbox about closing the studios down, I didn't like that because that's taking more away potential games from us, right? Um, when I criticize PlayStation in their first party pipeline, it's because they aren't giving me as much as I would want as a consumer. I used to like PlayStation. I've owned every PlayStation that has existed, but I've owned two PS5s this generation and sold them both because there just wasn't anything exciting for me to look forward to. I don't like some of the franchises that they've backed and they've went to make their whole identity around. Instead, I liked more of some of the older ones that they used to make. Things getting better potentially, but they also have less first party output. And now because they have how game development is, now they've had to rely even more so on money having games and to gatekeep exclusives to give some kind of value to the box as opposed to their first party games. So for me, that's not anything added value for me. I was going to be able to get those games everywhere, but you're just basically taking them away from people. That doesn't necessarily add anything for me. I'm just saying, okay, well, those games are just only on PlayStation for how long now? Because most of those third party games that are money added are going to be timed exclusives. So what I like, and also a lot of them come out on PC also, which I have. So really, like, there's very few reasons for me to be interested in PlayStation now, and but I don't like a lot of the things that they did, being one of the first ones to do $70 games, having not doing day and date in their subscription, having less value in the subscription in general. Um, the first party output has very been one dimensional, with certain kind of games that gave them their identity last gen. So as far as all that goes, I just been losing more and more interest in PlayStation and been really critical on them. But if they ever start doing better for me, I will praise that, right? Then I will be interested again in maybe owning one. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I will say that their money hatting deals and uh, paying third party developers and publishers for their exclusive to make games exclusive is more so out of a necessity with their first party pipeline. Like if they didn't do that, what would people have? What value would they see in their PlayStation consoles? Right? Like Xbox first party has fucking way more coming than PlayStation's. So games are more expensive because you don't get the games day and date. Like all these other factors as well. Like value wise, like Xbox clearly smashes PlayStation. Not only in value of dollars, but also in the amount of games you get for it. So there's going to there like eventually it'll catch up with them. We'll see how long it takes. But they've just been the de facto, hey, get this because I want a new console type thing, right? So like as long as the casuals keep moving over because they own the games in their library on PlayStation, like it's just going to remain the same. But there's that whole market's dwindling anyway. Over time, the console market will still be a thing, but it will keep kind of generation as the years go by, kind of continue to dwindle a little bit. Nintendo will be the um, odd man out where they're able to like sustain a lot longer. As long as Xbox consoles exist, third party time exclusivity will always be a thing. Yeah, but here's the thing: if they actually do what this thing is with Xbox PC hybrid next generation, the games that PlayStation puts on PC, which is all of them, and it will be continually shrinking. Guess what? Guess where you're going to be able to get access to those games? Just saying. Yeah, the exclusivity thing is going to become less and less important over time. But I'm excited for like a PC hybrid Xbox. I just imagine going to the store. Hey, I got $800, $700. What? It's the year 2027. Walking into a store, I'm excited. We got Elder Scrolls 6 to look forward to. You know, we got all these things. We got all these games coming out. We got all this shit. I want something badass to play my games on. I'm going to the store. Okay, what do I want to get? What do I want to get? What do I want to get? I'm at the store looking around. Okay, we got the PS5 Pro. Okay, it's $900. It gives me PSSR 3.0. All right, we got PlayStation exclusives there. Yeah, man, they got that intergalactic game. Yeah, man. Oh, did you hear Fair Games? Was entering season 2. We got Helldivers on this thing. Oh yeah. Oh shit, man. Yeah, I might give this. Oh, what's this thing over here? Xbox, no Xbox. Xbox is Xbox. I ain't all about that. It's Xbox. Oh wait, what? It says I can also play PC games on this motherfucker. What's that? What do you mean I can play PC games on that motherfucker? Oh shit. Oh, hold on. Let me look at this. So you boot it up, and it boots up like an Xbox. You get Game Pass, so I can get all the first party games. I can get all the ones for the whole last generation that I missed because I had my head stuck up Sony's ass. I can play if I get Game Pass. I can play all those shits. I can play all them shits that I missed last gen because my head was stuck up Sony's ass. Okay, I can play all them, and I don't gotta pay for them. I got a library already built in. Oh, okay. Oh, hold on. Oh, you mean I can also play my Steam shit, my Epic shit, my this and that. I can access those stores and buy those games. And oh no, okay, okay. Well, guess what? PlayStation's putting their games on PC too, so I can actually just buy this one. And I get Xbox, Steam, Epic, GOG, PlayStation games, everything on this, and it just boots up like a console. I'm gonna rock with that shit. Oh wait, but hold on. There's a Lenovo one. There's an Asus one. There's a this one. There's a that one. Okay, well, what's the best deal? Which one's on sale right now? Which one has the best stats? Which one gives me the most storage? Okay. Exclusivity was cool while it lasted, but I'm gonna go over here. I mean, for me, it's an easy decision. Like, if I get that one, you might feel a little bit more special because, hey, you have something at least for a time being that somebody else can't get. But over here, you get everything. I'm gonna take everything. What's up, 3-bit? Merry Christmas, dude. Merry Christmas. So anyway, that's my mentality of it. And then you take it beyond that. Oh, you mean they got handhelds too? And I can do all the same stuff on these handhelds? So also my saves just go wherever. And all the Xbox games, if I'm out of town or something, I don't even bring a device, or I can just still access my shit. Play it that way. Oh, I got like 5 TVs in my house. You mean I can just boot up the app on the TV on the other rooms I don't play on as much, and I can still access it? Okay. Shit, I mean that's the vision, man. Like that's what I believe in. Like I hope it comes true. Because if it does, we're in store as gamers, as consumers for something that is a way better offer than we've ever had before. So I'm down. But that's according to the reports from games media and journalists. That's what they're going for. Yeah, they got to execute, right? They got to execute. But if they nail it, and if they do it, it's going to be awesome. And again, like you just check out the Xbox app on PC, the games that they adding on there, the cloud ownership on the xbox.com/play, all that stuff. They're making strides. They're making a lot of strides with it right now. In fact, I'm gonna go to it here. And let's see. I wanted to bring this up so I can show you guys what this looks like right now.
Choo choo!
Sorry.
Choo choo!
Ah! Okay, wrong one. Hold on. All right, here we go. All right, so this is a Xbox like app, right? And I can put it in full screen mode. I got my controller. This is all I did is go to xbox.com/play. So let's see here. These are the games, the 50 games that you can choose from that you own right now. So you can filter the ones that you actually own, like Balatro, right? You got Mortal Kombat. Since I'm streaming, I don't know how this is going to work, how the quality would be, but I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. I'm on an ultra wide monitor PC as well, so that's interesting. I don't know how that's going to work. Okay, it rocks in full screen. Just cuts it to 1920 1080. Oh, licensed music. I don't want the music. No. I'm just showing you how this works.
Happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to
Bing,
our
bang,
coverage
boom.
of the NBA on 2K Sports. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Anderson, alongside Grant Hill and Clark Kellogg. Our reporter is Allie LaForce. So a moment now to see the story for Klay Thompson.
And over the last 5 games, his field goal percentage has increased. And you can make a case, his confidence as well, because of this.
All right, let's check out the starting group for the Thunder. In at forward, it's Jordan Williams. Jason Wallace out there with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. And it's Hartenstein in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. And for Dallas, Washington and
I
Lively
don't know.
down
For me,
low.
this is a pretty damn good
Irving and
experience.
Thompson fill out the wings. And it's Doncic in at the point. Williams' shot is good. Both teams playing well lately, Grant. Something's got to give here.
Yeah, this is a great test of momentum. Whoever controls the pace probably controls the outcome.
Now here's Irving. From the baseline. Rebound by
Early.
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Here's Oklahoma City now. All right, let's get a report from Allie.
Well, Jason Kidd had a few moments to share with me.
I ain't gonna play
And he
long.
acknowledged
I just
that
want
he's
to
one of
show
the
you
most dynamic
guys
players in the league
how
in
smooth this shit is.
Gilgeous-Alexander. He said there's no way to defend him, that his speed and movement, we need to be ready to rotate and
Oh,
help
fucking
every
rip.
possession. Still, he said they're all looking forward to the challenge.
All
No.
right, Allie, thanks once again.
Off to a horrible start.
A shot
7-0.
that Williams continues
Fuck
to
me.
work on. He loves seeing these type of results.
Right side, Irving. Here's Doncic. And Doncic
right.
hammers it home.
A dynamic finish, then decides to hang out a little.
Yeah, this is
Good
on a
measure.
fucking stream, guys. I'm fucking
That's the
streaming while I'm
exclamation
doing
point
this.
right
Same
there.
internet connection.
We've seen those kinds of plays get them going.
There's like very little late. The latency is honestly not even like noticeable to me, you know. But like, I understand somebody might notice
Three
more.
ball. Oh, and he can't make that one. 2 for 3 now. His first miss. Williams against Washington.
So I've been doing
Now
this shit at night on my tablet.
From deep, here's Doncic. Knocks it down from distance. Doncic has got 5 now.
Fucking NBA
Don't know what to-
2K25. Anyway, I just wanted to show it like an example here. You know what I mean? Like, imagine every game you own being able to just boot up like this anywhere. But not only just this version, the version that gets improved because the cloud improvements 5-10 years from now. Like, people don't have the foresight and the vision to think about the future. And you use it just like a fucking Xbox. You just like, this is just on the browser. Fantastic. Stop asking me. I don't want to give feedback every damn time. Like, I mean, I'm happy with this shit. You can fucking Forza Horizon. Let's Forza Horizon. Right? Graphically demanding game. Requires responsive handling, all that shit. You playing MLB The Show on your LG OLED using the same website, right on Gamer? Yeah, I mean that's the like this is the future. Like, phone with backbone works great as well. And more, like, just from y'all guys' comment, more and more of us seem to be actually using this. You know what I mean?
Welcome back, Brandon.
Hey, what's up? Oh, this one boots into the full the like widescreen. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Yeah, Fuzzy. And also what they're talking about is, adding all the games you own. So I think about that. I own like so many. I own so many damn games. So once that becomes a thing, I mean, shit, dude. I mean, it's so responsive, dude. There's like no latency here for me. Like, anyway, I just wanted to show that stuff just for the sake of it. Anyway. Like this stuff that they're doing, right? The other thing I wanted to show is notice this right here, right? Plays with mouse and keyboard, right? That's a what that does is that opens the gateway for PC games. That opens the gateway for the PC Game Pass games to be playable this way. So like Aura, History Untold, and stuff like that, I think will eventually be in the cloud version once they implement the changes to where, hey, Xbox, PC, and it are one, and the cloud gaming is going to be built on that future hardware platform of the next gen instead of just the Series X's and stuff that they have now. Then imagine what Game Pass cloud will look like, and the cloud gaming, where you actually have access to all of your PC games that you own via the PC app, plus also the Game Pass PC games. They could definitely get there, right? At some point, that could be where everything just how it is. You just like, hey, here's like almost every fucking game you own. It's just here for you, right? And then you could boot into that on a native device where you can just install the games also, like a Lenovo or Asus or an Xbox actual created one, console or handheld. Like that's what I see. This is where I see it all going, man. But we're on the precipice, right? Those next gen things aren't supposed to be launching for a couple years. They got a lot of work to do getting everything working, everything seamless across everything. And I think it's going to continue to be an evolving thing into the next generation. I don't think once they launch next gen, it's just going to be like, yeah, it all works great. I think it's going to be something that's going to continue to evolve and improve as they go because it's a lot of work. But they're already starting, is what I'm getting at, and it's not even next gen yet. Mike says, what if Valve doesn't allow Steam on the next Xbox? They are coming out with their own console. Well, if you can boot up the console into a PC mode, how will they block it? That's the question, because you can, on the Steam Deck, you can install Windows and play Xbox games on a Steam Deck. Xbox PC. You can access the Xbox PC store on a Steam Deck right now. You can access Game Pass on a Steam Deck. You can even implement your Game Pass library into the Steam Deck library if you do the workaround stuff that's required to do it. Like that, how would they? If it's a PC based device, how would they say, well, we're going to run on these PCs, but not that one? I don't know. I see Steam kind of being like having the same vision that Xbox does. The only reason you can do all that is because Steam is built on Linux. So you can, the Steam Deck is running on Linux. So you can install and whatever on there and make it work. So, like, if you're talking about, yeah, it's just a console only, then yeah, they could probably do whatever. But I would argue that Steam would be interested in being on any of those devices because they're already allowing other third-party developers to make Steam-based devices. So why wouldn't they want the Xbox themed devices to have also access to their stores to be able to buy people to buy games from their library? The storefront for them is where they make their money, not the hardware. Steam's not selling Steam Decks just to make money on the hardware. They're trying to get their storefront into the hands of more types of gamers. It's not about selling the hardware. It's about what it's always been, a means to an end of storefront in your hands, storefront in front of your eyes, buy games, spend money. The more places you have your storefront, the better. I can't foresee a reason why Steam wouldn't want that. The whole evolution of where things are going in the console space as the consoles of the necessity of it being a means to an end is going away for high-end games. For people that don't want to own a high-end PC. Steam OS wants to take over Windows. That is the biggest reason why. So by your argument would be they want to just have everything become Steam OS. I don't know I think that would be I mean, obviously they want a lot of Steam OS stuff out there. And it would be interesting to see everything go Steam OS, but making things locked like that, I don't think would be the right move. I don't know. I don't really understand that. Like they want Steam OS to supplant Windows on PC. More more devices are like what would be the reason? What would be the purpose? Because you can download like Steam's already the most popular platform for games on Windows. It doesn't make I don't know. I don't see the logic in that. Like obviously you want your own stuff to be super popular and stuff, but like Valve is even like given tutorials for people on how to put Game Pass and Windows and stuff on their Steam Decks. But yeah, like them saying, "Hey, we want to take away everybody from Windows where we have the dominant market share of PC gaming." Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't. I just sorry. I just don't see the logic. I don't see the everything for me has to have reason and logic, right? Like I follow the money, I follow the logic, I follow the reasoning behind things. That's why I'm okay with. That's why I've been kind of where I've been with a lot of the stuff that Xbox is doing this generation and going forward. Where people have been in their emotions about stuff. Like I just don't see the logic in that. Because it's not a it's not an Xbox like it wouldn't just be like Xbox consoles, it would be these Xbox PCs. You know, like I think it's hard for people to like get out of their minds about like a traditional console market, but like would Steam allow Steam to be ran on a current existing Xboxes? If Microsoft were to go to Steam and say, "Hey, Do you want us to have an option for all of our existing 30, 40, however many, if you did, let's say even include Xbox One, like amount of gamers to be able to buy your games and play them on our device through your storefront? You think Steam be like, nah, we're not interested in those 35, 40 plus, or however many million customers. Nah, we're good. Oh, like the reason that doesn't exist is because the consoles don't have that infrastructure now. Like they're not built the same as like the PC with being able to run the PC games. Like it's just it'd be awesome if they could make some kind of change and update it to that. But that's what they're talking about doing for the next generation. You get what I'm saying? Like Steam, I think wants to be in as on many devices and have you be able to purchase games as possible. Their hardware is based on the fact that they want to have a compelling hardware to enter the space because there's a handheld market that really wasn't being sought after from gamers to buy games on Steam. Like there was from manufacturers, right? So they built their own and their own OS, which is awesome OS, and they're going to continue to do that with third party development companies and all that. And yes, Steam would rather have more of those devices run Steam OS than Windows because it'll boot automatically into Steam on those devices for sure. But you'll have like, I think you'll have some of the manufacturers. Here's our Steam device, here's our Xbox device, and then you'll still be able to access the other ones, right? The other options, it's just what's the default boot mode? It's like a tablet now. Like a tablet now, like you can if you get like an Android tablet, yeah, it has the Google launcher on it, right? So you'll have your like Google stuff everywhere, but you can change it to like the Microsoft launcher if you want. You know what I mean? You can change it to whatever launcher, and then all of a sudden you see all their apps and all their ecosystem stuff because it's an open Android is like a more open ended ecosystem, except when it comes to the App Store where they push their App Store first, which is the one that's mostly used. Um, so it's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out, right? Obviously, Google wants their cut, Steam wants their cut, Xbox wants their cut, PlayStation wants everybody wants their slice of the pie. It's about at the end of the day reaching the most people possible to sell the pie to. Anyway, I just wanted to go over all that stuff with you. I personally, Tom Tom Warren's article back in March that I read earlier hit on man, I'm just fucking up on all my stuff today. Hit on all of like the things that concerning the library, game preservation, future compatibility, what the devices could ensure for us access to more games than ever before on a device. Those are the key factors that I look forward to when it comes to the possibility of a Xbox based hybrid type gaming PC device that would be the potential devices for the next generation. And for that reason, I am in on it. Mike H says there's a lot of factors to make this all work. Right now, it's very hard to imagine all Steam games running decently on a single system. Even now, there's a ton of tinkering needed. Well, like, you mean on Windows? I don't have any problem running any of my Steam games. I imagine the next generation hardware will be probably at or above my spec of my PC. I have a 7900 XT. So, I mean, there'll be a spec that the games will be But if it's based on like a PC, it's like they'll just run based on the specs of the device that it's being played on. But the thing is that they're talking about is having like all these devices have more of a close ratio for those specs to make it easier for the developers. I don't get that. I know you're trying to have a like a make some points here, you know, and I'm not trying to like dismiss it too much. I just don't understand the what you mean by that, because if it's Windows based and it launches games like a PC, like the OEM based thing that everybody's talking about, I don't understand why it would have a problem running the games. It'd be like me having a certain spec of PC and saying that I can't run all the Steam games that I have. But I can run all the Steam games that I have. You know what I mean? And like there's tons of different configurations for PCs out there and stuff. So you're just basically adding another configuration to it. Yeah, I just don't understand it. Again, like maybe there's something I'm missing, but I don't understand it. Fuzzy Tomato says you'll probably have to accept some tweaking some settings if you're buying from the Steam store. I think it'll be like a PC. Like the game will have the options to choose the settings. Like when you boot up a PC game, you like tweak the settings according to your rig, and it some games do better at auto detecting your settings than others. But I would imagine it's like the same. You would just tweak the settings to fit what the device you're playing on. Like that's the way the Steam Deck works. Game on Jesse says Xbox just needs to be an upgradable console and all the mid-gen, next-gen drama. If you can afford to upgrade it, then fine. If you can't, then you are stuck with the base model. Yeah, I think the interesting thing, the interesting thing about the future model was you would have more frequent improvements and like there wouldn't be like necessarily a generation because like PC there's not like generations, you know what I mean? Like so you would have if this next gen Xbox launches and stuff, that would be the hey, okay, a couple years later maybe a device comes out that is better and it can run this OS and is more capable. You can run higher frame rates and stuff. Like that sounds great to me. But like there'll be options for different specs. I don't know. There's like so many benefits to it. I'm having the only downside would be if they just don't get all the library there. Like the only downside is if they due to whatever they can't get the majority of our libraries over to be playable on this next generation, which is the challenge that they need to focus on. Which is what they need to focus on. They didn't make sure that all of our console games and all of our PC games or whatever are going to be available. Right? As that's what they're going for. That's what needs to happen. That's where the challenge is, and that's where I believe their focus is right now. Making the operating system, streamlining it, figuring out the ins and outs of configuration and like this is going to work, how that's going to work, how's it going to work for all these different or all these different manufacturers, how's it going to work with our own console, how's it going to work with our own handheld, you know, how all those things they got to figure all that out because they've got to make some changes just even in their own ecosystem to make it all fly, right? And then what they got to do is make all the games available natively and in the cloud. That's true Xbox everywhere at that point. But that's the challenge. Anyway, this was a fun stream, guys. But I'm gonna go ahead and call it here. We've been live for 2 hours 15 minutes. I told you guys I was not having any regular podcasts until the new year. Until after we're done with our regular shows. We're done with PM and the PM for this year. We're done with FSP. We're done with Xbox Ultimate, all of that stuff. But we will be back next year with all that. But you may see some other game streams. There is a game I want to stream. So that may happen in the next few days at some point. I don't know exactly when. Michael Mooney with the £5 before we get out of here. Appreciate you, Michael. Says SteamOS would be like the development mode on Xbox consoles. Yeah, like SteamOS would be like, okay, like you boot into, you boot into SteamOS like as an option, or because it's Windows, you don't need SteamOS. You can just open Steam. Like I can open Steam right now on my Windows PC, right? So maybe you could just, hey, get out of this Xbox console thing, open up the PC looking shit and just boot up Steam. I think that would be kind of what it's like. I think like it would boot into the Xbox, and then it'd be a way to get out of that, and then you could go to whatever you want. You can use it like a PC, which would also be cool for other applications as well besides Steam. I mean, you could think about other things also, like Office applications, all this stuff. Imagine taking your console with you everywhere, and you could use it just like a PC, but it's like kind of more portable and easier to take around. That'd be pretty damn cool. But yeah, thanks for the $5 super chat, Michael Mooney. But yeah, we'll get out of here, everybody. Again, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Thanks everybody for an absolutely amazing 2024. I hope we all have an amazing 2025. I hope you all enjoy the couple days ahead. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, and we have Christmas, whatever other holidays you may celebrate, or if nothing at all, still hope you all have a great season here, where everything kind of winds down at the end of the year. And then New Year's, I hope, we have a good celebration and you have a lot of fun. Stay safe over the holidays and play some games. Love the games you play. As Pong says, play what you love. Love what you play. It's the golden age of gaming, folks. And don't you forget it. It really is. The gaming this year has been amazing. And oh my God, 2025. Oh, shit. 2020 freaking 5. Not only do we have the biggest, I'm almost going to go off on another little tangent here. I'm trying not to because I'm trying to get out of here. But not only are we going to have the biggest roadmap of first party from Xbox that we've ever seen in a year, but we have a shit ton of third-party Game Pass day and date games coming to Xbox. But then if you look elsewhere, you also have the Switch 2 launching next year. So there's bound to be some new games coming that direction. And then who knows? You may have some more surprises from PlayStation. Don't know, but Ghost of Yotei is hitting for them as well. It's going to be an awesome year for gaming next year that could rival any of the best years in gaming history. And GTA 6 to top it off, if it actually does launch at the end of the year next year, would be absolutely crazy as well. So new year, shit ton of stuff to look forward to. I hope you have a good one, everybody. Take it easy, and good night. Bye.